Okay, now time has come. So let's shut down the timer and welcome everyone to RegTech webinar. And today's topic, we focus on Jira apps, especially the AI apps that we've been building. And for those who don't know what company RegTech is, we are Atlassian marketplace vendor amongst the other things, but this is like today's topic, especially marketplace vendor who builds the AI-powered, easy-to-use apps for Jira. But like the name of the company, RegTech tells that we are more widely requirement and product development experts focusing on not only AI-powered product development add-ons, but also we do a lot of like management consultancy, process definition, and also build these helper tools for other products, amongst the other like IBM Doors, if someone is familiar with that, and Jama Connect and Polarion is also on the roadmap. So we are multi-vendor or multi-tool expert, yet most of the let's say the revenue from this side comes from the Atlassian apps, and that's where most of the user base is also in terms of the market size and so. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump to the demos and tooling. I just want to show quickly that all these three tools we cover mainly focus today on the Requirements Copilot, which I already had here open. So that's the tool to write and analyze requirements or whatever work item issue data in Doors. And then the other one, very interesting, and this is actually growing the interest and installs the fastest of our apps, the Xray edition for AI Test Copilot for Jira. And we will, as mentioned, look at these on the demos, quickly saying that this is a tool to generate test cases with help of AI. Not fully automate generation per se, but close to that one, you will see. So then let's jump to the actual topic. I open here another browser window that is containing some demo data. I will start showing quickly the basic features, and then we jump into the, as the title of the session promised, that we will show how our own development works. So then you see the real life case. But because we are developing AI apps, it might be slightly confusing showing AI to build AI without kind of giving you a context for how the apps works in general. So very briefly, the main point of our apps that they are easy to use. And could it be easier to use some app than clicking a single button? Like here I have a Jira issue containing a requirement, and what makes it requirement, it's like the content it has. In this case it has title and let's say that this traditional style written requirement describing this feature. And if we are in a project, okay, now I don't know what happened, but if we are in a project that team has decided and the product development guideline says that let's use user stories, but we have received a requirement that is written in this traditional style, then simply hit the button of user story, and this will translate this let's say boomer style requirement into agile user story format. So basically the content meaning of the description is still the same, the language is different. And that's what our Requirement Copilot app is on its basis. And then we can replace the content, so then the Jira will override that. And similarly, you can have another, or will have a different type of buttons. And actually, one crucial feature that we are even going further down the line is that we really want to be transparent on the prompts we use and the functionality. So as an example, if I mouse over a button, it shows me the prompt that what happens when I click this button. It will send this prompt together with summary and description to OpenAI over API, and as a result it will get back rewritten description, or like I ask now the acceptance criteria, for example. So now I got the acceptance criteria matching this user story description. And in this case, I don't probably want to replace the content, of course. Instead, I want to append this as an extension, so to say, for the description. And now we have nicely reformatted the text and made acceptance criteria for this requirement, or the user story in this case. And then, of course, you can continue and develop further. And then another tool we have, or the app we have, is let's remove the acceptance criteria to make it like a little bit more challenging for the next app. So which is called Xray, AI Test Copilot for Xray. And as you can see, we have also the very same tool, very same functionality, but for Zephyr. So these are tailor-made tools. They have some slight differences on folder handling and things like that, how the actual testing app works, but the main point being the same. So I could add them visible here. And as a hint, nowadays in Jira there is a feature which was kind of missing after this new UI improvement round Atlassian made, that you can make these stick, so to say, that you can say that show me always this app in the place I want to see it. Then of course you can later on hide it or collapse it. For the sake of usability, we also added the apps here. So don't get confused, it's the very same app actually, but in a different place. So if I have the Xray app here, then the very same functionality is here. It doesn't matter which one you use. Let's keep on using this one, then you see also how it works here. So, and then again, kind of similar way of doing, but way different results. So now we take summary and description, but instead of rewriting it, we generate test cases, and user can select list of different test case types. Again, these are predefined. Project admin can configure own set of test cases, test types, and according prompts or related prompts fully on the project settings. So let's just generate one functional test case with 3 steps, which is, let's say, the normal way of doing it. And then just a little wait, and then we get the test case created. It gives a name, description briefly, and then the most important, the manual test steps that we are then able to use. And then also this app, as well as the earlier one, it has the regenerate feature, so I can create 5 steps. So I can kind of Copilot style go and iterate the results before committing them back to the Xray. So now if I think it's better to have a little bit more details on the test case, then I ask it to make 5 steps instead of 3. And also you can edit the test cases here if you have something incorrect there, or you want to add a step, for example, then you can do this. Again, I claim that this is way easier than doing it in Xray later on, but nevertheless you can further edit, of course, in Xray. Let's push that to the Xray, then we see what happens there, so that we got successfully entered to the Xray, and then we get the linked test item here. So this is now for, we can see that how the ready-made test case looks like. So it had the very same steps even without the dot that I made it here. So, but that's briefly what our apps do. And as we remember, we have the very same one for generating test cases to the Zephyr. So basically doing the same, but the button sends them to the Zephyr instead of Xray. Cool. Next, now that we know the basics, how these apps works, then let's go to the actual our own feature list. I took some of the features that we have on our backlog, and actually some of them are already done, but just to want to show that how it all went when we designed and reviewed and generated test cases for our very own features. So we actually have the setup so that we have all these 3 different apps in one Jira project, or actually it's a space today, like like you see there, hard to remember. So then if we then open one of these and start to develop the content for this, let's assume that I was just in a meeting with the customer and or internal meeting and realized that, hey, we need to really now rewrite the admin UI for Zephyr app. And okay, let's start from here. Of course, I probably have written something in the description, but let's assume that this is the case that we are in. Then in our case, we only have 3 buttons here, as we remember that there was 5 or even 6 buttons in the demo case where I had the default setting. Now I have some special settings. So, and we use user stories. So let's write the user story out of this. And then simply based on the plain summary text, it creates a user story out of it. So as an admin user, I want improvements to the Zephyr app UI so that I can manage settings more and blah, blah, blah. So almost there, but of course it couldn't figure out what are the actual features we want to have in that. Then we can use this iterate feature. So again, this is, if you think GitHub Copilot or Cursor or any like agentic or AI development helping tools. So this is pretty much similar, but for requirements. So I can iterate from there that if we say that, that there's some super weird with my Jira. Let's see, go back to there. Now we also see how similar test case, user story it generates. Quite close, but it's not always exactly the same because we have some, let's say, variance on and temperature setting still out of 0 on the model. So, and then we want to iterate that project admin need to be able to set default folder for test cases. So giving that additional input, and now it goes back and revise the earlier written requirement with this additional instruction. As a project admin, which is now right, I want to set the default folder for test cases and efficient without manual sorting. Nice. This is exactly what we want. And now I replace that. So pretty much that, okay, what happened now? It's nice to have these demo effects here, probably. Okay, it was just hitting some additional clicks there. We actually got the right description on the back end, so now we got it as we wished. So, of course, if I had written this into description as like a bullet point or something, the actual feature content, I would get it right in the first click, but this is the way to iterate that there. Then we can also run reviews. So this is doing a very quick review, so that is there if we want to do this, let's say, a bit more official way, then what type of things we should have in the description so that it complies. Here it's internally have to admit that we are not using this preview not that much. It's more like a demoing need on our side, but in the cases, for example, our customers use that quite a lot, that there is a standard called INCOs that defines a lot of requirement management best practices and for example for reviews and content writing. So then ask AI to analyze this requirement according to that INCOs standard and give improvement ideas that how can I improve this. So, and now that I have some improvement ideas here, I can actually do rewriting of the content using these. So then I select use AI result to guidance. So actually what it does, it basically gives this instead of this written instruction, which I still can kind of give even more context to it, it will give the required review comments. And again, hover over button shows you the actual prompt, so you don't have to guess what's happening here. That's, in my opinion, quite annoying in most of the modern AI helper apps like ours is, or the competitive apps, that you don't really know what happens on the background, and more you can't even configure anything. Yes, okay, now we got a bit more description, and actually the review notes or findings are now included nicely here. As a user story, it's slightly longish in my opinion, but I think you got the point. So, and then I can replace this again and get it there as in use. Let's do that, and then also have this configured this special button. This is not really too much in use, but more like trying out that I ask AI to start to specify what Forge UI components I shall use if I implement this feature. And let's add this as a comment, so I don't mess around with the description, but throw it here as the comment on the for later use if needed. Good. That's very briefly how the requirement text processing goes. And then if we look at that, I think at this point I can show you a little bit these configuration things, and then let's get back to the generating test cases. So let's start from these buttons here that I have now only 3 buttons. So how can I configure those? So then in the space settings or project settings, as people still quite often call them, then we have our own settings here. First of all, you can follow or you don't have to do these project level settings if you don't want. So you can use the global settings. Okay, sorry, I took the Xray settings. Let's take this one. We get back to the Xray settings in a minute. So then for both apps that you can use the global settings or deviate or make your custom settings on the project level. And in this case, I have made a couple of special buttons for this project only. And now this view shows 3 buttons as we had there and the corresponding prompts. And now I can, as a project admin, I can configure these prompts. And this is what I mean that you are in full control of what the AI does there. Of course, there is a small layer like a primer prompt that we put in the code level that tells to you that you are a helpful requirement analyzer and you should focus only on results and blah, blah, blah. But basically the beef, the real, let's say, AI functionality in this prompting is controlled by the users. I think kind of best practice how to do this is assuming that the team is quite aware of how AI works, and even best if people are already using AI. And as I've seen, that most of the people use AI for rewriting and analyzing requirements, but it's cut and paste to ChatGPT or Claude and back. And yeah, if you can ask that what is the difference between this app and that method, I would say nothing as an end result, but it's way more easier, meaning you only need to click a button and get the analysis and rewriting done, and then you can continue easily and no cut and pasting. That's the immediate benefit. Let's say the next level benefit is that if the team really want to, and the organization as a whole want to use AI in a unified way, then team can have a workshop and define these prompts together. And once they agree that, okay, in our team, we want to write user stories using scaled agile framework, they then configure it here. If they want to define user stories some other way, perhaps including always the acceptance criteria, for example, then they can change the prompt so that they don't have separate acceptance criteria, but criteria with 3 points. That's good to give it like some max amount so it won't make too much. So, but now it's kind of the point that we can unify the use of AI, still we are in control. And thinking in the organization point of view, like AI Act, for example, quite clearly states that you should know and even document how you use the AI. And if the people are cut and pasting to random AI chat tools with the random background, all the requirements, it's quite a mess in the end. And let's say using our app, you can really get at least first layer of control and consistency in this point. Plus, it's quite easy to document that, hey, we do it this way and we always use these and these prompts. Still, every project can define their own ways and own prompts. Some even, I've seen that the people use these apps to even write blog posts. So if you have a Jira issue or the work item called as a, or type is blog post, and then you just type there some ideas and define a button that let's make this is always fun to make a choke button. Create choke out of the requirement. Then they can do that and remove all other buttons. So let's save that, and we can get back to that here on the. If we try to make choke out of this guy here, then let's see what happens. Now I added the new button, and let's see how it goes. All right, yeah, good enough. But I think you got the point. Team is in control of the prompts they use. They can together agree how many buttons and what buttons they have, and take it from there. Yet, if you are doing some special things, then you can give this additional instruction even before pressing the button. Make shark choke. And then press the button. Okay, and now we got applied choke with the additional instruction, and actually it carries over it here, so I can continue iterating with my initial additional instruction. Cool. Yes, I promised that we look at also the Xray app. Then let's go there so we can again use it here. Then generate the, or actually let's start from the settings. We already glanced that, so then we can see what's happened there. App settings, they are a bit hidden here on the very last part of the project settings, and then underneath the apps you can find them. But the Xray and Zephyr themselves are even further down because they're later in the alphabets. So for Xray app we have, I think, most of the configure options and bits and bolts here in the project level settings. And first of all, we can give kind of context for any test case generated for within this project, and we use something like this at the moment. Can be better also, but this start to already make some effect. Just to thinking that the AI is back there, and this is the first layer of prompt you give, and after that you are then firing up these different prompts, so that you first give this prompt and then ask generate functional test case or negative test case and so on. So giving some general context for AI to be able to generate better test cases than after all. And then here I just explained that, okay, this project is all about building Jira Cloud apps using Forge. This Forge is quite important, and for those who don't know what is Atlassian Forge is, their latest framework for developing apps, meaning like web functionality within Jira, Confluence and other tools. It's kind of a flavor or dialect of React, but it has own limited set of libraries and some modified libraries and so on. So, and it's quite important to get it in full Forge, because Atlassian Cloud is pretty much gearing towards that. And seems to be OpenAI, for example, the ChatGPT knows quite well the Atlassian Forge. So that helps here. And then explain a little bit how the apps work, that we use OpenAI API for the executing these things. And that's also good for you to know that the app can be, by default it uses RegTech subscription, which is paid plan, no training model, no nothing like that. But system admin can configure own OpenAI key or use Azure OpenAI instance. Then you need to provide endpoint and the key. But still, you can go under your company own DPA or rely on our paid plan. So, and RegTech doesn't participate this game at all. So we pass through all the calls as is. We don't make any logging even. So it's our, let's say, keep our hands clear of the any GDPR things or handling your data. Cool. And then let's look at these test types or test buttons in their own editor. So then I can give just the name of the button. I can add again new button, give a new name for it if I want. And then I can give additional instructions for certain level of topics. So we can also make German test case. I think I need to get back here and remove these demo cases in our even though this is also demo environment, still make test cases in German language and save test types like that. For you to know that there are also support for Cucumber and generic test case. Generic test case is, if you know about the Xray test case types, so there is a way that you can have like a code content, and we use that for, in the default settings, there are own template for robot framework cases, not of course not full cases, but get the like a skeletons in place. Cucumber works quite well right out the box. But this is easy for demonstration purposes. Then you can also target test cases into another project or space. So quite many customers have it so that they have like a test case library project or projects, and then few of them, and then a lot of course, product development projects that can share these test case projects and test cases from the library. So here you can select different target project where to generate those. Still the linking and everything works like should. Cool. All saved. That we didn't even change. So let's get back to the project itself and then see how we can go and start generating test cases now with our new functionalities. If we just make the first one the basic functional Jira test case, then see what happens. And now we remember the feature that Jira project admin shall be able to configure default folders in project settings. Verify that admin and set default for it. Yeah, navigate to admin UI. This could say that it's project setting UI. Select an existing folder or create a new folder. Okay, of course it can't know the Zephyr app like it's focusing here at the moment that well, so this is not probably super useful as is, but we could, as I said, we could then either develop it fully here or, of course, remove the steps and write them back. Navigate to the project settings. No, that can be there or not. Have pro admin rights. Okay, but I think again you got the point. And now I can also select the target project if I want to pop this test case for some reason to another project. The one setting we look at it a minute ago, that's for default setting for this project. But if we kind of have exceptions, then I can still do that. And you can have, it shows all the issue types, but it's mainly for if again, so if we have configured multiple issue types for Xray test types, then we can here, if we put it to another project, then we might need to use a different issue type there. So, but let's push that now. Yeah, my changes went lost. For some reason it kind of, I don't know, is it this streaming making it like sending some escape buttons for random. And now we have the test case here. We can still look at that just to verify how it looks. Cool. So now it start to look like this. And this way then we can go and do further steps. Let's go back to board and build up the next feature, data residency in Xray app. As remember, we have 3 different apps. We have them here as a components. At the moment, our apps doesn't read any other fields than description and summary, but it's on the list of planned items at least that you can include some other attributes there as well. But let's see how it goes just with the basic workflow without too much of explanations and things. Hey, now actually we changed the prompt, so now you see that there is also acceptance criteria bundled in. Let's keep it there, doesn't matter. All right, as a user of Xray app, I want to data residency. Data residency selection is the one that Xray base app, it's Xray TM base app uses. US, EU, Australia, I think, if I remember right, but nevertheless 3 of them. Nice, now we have it right, and then replace and have it there with the acceptance criteria. Yes, and then generate test cases. And now if we are relying this guy so much that, okay, it does the job, we have everything correct, let's quick create the test cases. So it doesn't even open the dialog for the review and edit, but just push the test case to the Xray right when it's done. And wait a little bit, then we get the link here. And boom, it's here. Then again, it seems so easy that you just click and go, but highly recommend to read this through, because it's only AI. It's not really do that much of a, let's say, human style of thinking there. But looks fairly okay to me. Let's keep it there. And again, go to the board, do the third one. Okay, this feature, as you see, it's actually the one we used. So my example data is outdated in that sense that it's or taking from the history, but literally we took these same steps back in the days. But for example, this feature is exactly the one that we used there. And okay, this is now missing the target app. Let's put that this we need it for. This might be the case that how you could do that. It's Xray app, and yeah, let's face it that probably we would be better off if we have all these three apps in the different spaces. Then we could really focus the prompts and everything towards each app. But like here, we have some general features, so it's not that straightforward to say. But this is the way that you give just the heading as a core feature and then some additions to in a description and convert that to the user story. So nice. Of course, it could have done the acceptance criteria one for Xray, one for Zephyr, but fair enough. And replace. One more feature I haven't showed to you actually in the settings, and then we can look at the admin settings as well. So, but I will check if there has been some comments. All right, my colleague Simone, gave you some additional info there on the comments list, or in the discussion of the stream. Yeah, I was about to show the rest of the features. There is some features still on the settings that might be interesting, especially on the admin side. If we go to the Jira apps, and then now this. No, sorry about that. It's they changed this menu. I think this has happened to you as well recently when this it's here directly. Yeah, when the menus changed. So let's quickly review how the global admin, Jira admin level features look like. For Requirements Copilot, it's quite same. Yet here is the option to configure the company key. So we called it company key mode, and if it's untoggled, it's called free mode, company key mode off, and it shows that some additional information. Here you can also access the documentation into our wiki page in Confluence. But as mentioned, that if you want to be sure or at least compliant with your DPA that your company and OpenAI has signed, or with your Azure DPA, then feel free to use your own keys here. Just enter the OpenAI key to this one, looking something like this, and then the Azure OpenAI key into the first box, and then the endpoint here. Then you can test the key and finally save it and leave this to green. Then all the actions work. And this also, if you have this on, then no users can't use it with the free key, which is also control for admin to block free key usage and then provide the keys here. And button settings, you can set these global settings here. You can even edit them. So in our company we can define whatever global default settings which the non-projects can deviate if they want. So 2-layer of configurations, and we have quite good set of ready-made settings or buttons here. For example, FDA template looks like this. We have 7 buttons: SRS, URS, FDA compliance check. So it may reach the requirement that tells any findings, max 2 findings, how to improve it so that it's more aligned with the FDA medical device requirement style. Test. Yeah, and you can also use this for simple test case generation. If you don't want to use those or you don't have Xray or Zephyr, you can still generate test cases with requirements Copilot, but then the test case will be written on the description or separate test case field, which you can also configure or put it as a comment. Cool. Then for Xray the same thing. And okay, actually, let's look at the Zephyr first, so you see also that app in action, at least some parts. Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't go too much in details in this example for that, but pretty much it works the same way than Xray app, except the target system. Company key setting similarly, and once you enable that, then you can set the 2 different things. And for Zephyr as well as Xray, you need to provide the app token, like here as well. So you need to give Xray client ID, Xray client secret. And this is because you kind of looks like the Xray and Zephyr, they store the data in Jira and you handle it Jira, but that's not the case. They actually have their own web address and web services that are storing most of the data, and that's why we need to provide these. But there is quite clear guidance, and it's like a 2-minute job to generate the key. Actually, this link even pulls you directly on the page where you can set the your client ID. Just put the app name there as a user and then put the client ID. Yeah, you can see my ID, but you can't see my secret, so no worries. Good. Yeah, we're almost in the end. One feature still to show, and then I wrap up. So there is a functionality that I can make. Let's select multiple items from here just to get the filter list. View in work item search. Come on, take that click like that. And it doesn't have to be selected list, obviously. You can just run whatever JQL just to get the search result list. And then we can generate test cases with AI for Xray. Zephyr feature is coming as well, but for Xray it's already here. Yet it's in beta due to this one annoying bug that is on the Atlassian platform, that the selection you make here doesn't take account. So instead it will use the 5 first ones on the list. Actually now it doesn't seem to even work that far. Let's try again. I don't even do this selection. Okay, let's select them all and then do this one. Hope. Okay, looks like it's gone even worse. Sorry about that. I didn't try this first. It promised me. Trust me, it used to work a couple of days ago. But I think once we get this bug fixed, then this will work as it should. That you can select items from this list and then generate test cases for all of them. Of course, then you need to kind of define one type, and you can't use the project level settings and things like that. So straightforward, but in certain occasions it's really handy if you have like a long list of items and you just want to get quick and dirty test case creation done, then click off a couple of buttons and you are there. Brilliant. Thanks for looking at. Then let's make some of the summary out of it. So I had it here. Yeah, let's summarize here. I didn't even make any PowerPoint because we promised that we focus on demos only. So then let's summarize looking at this screen, so that in Marketplace you can find these. You can find us with the RegTech tag there, or simply looks like the typing Copilot is enough. We are getting traction and our place as it should, at least in my search. They are on top of the list here, and then simply go and check it and see the RegTech offering fully. So, but as a summary, what you can do with this, and I would also really want to highlight the benefits of this, or all of these apps. As mentioned, that they are not doing so much differently things that if you are really handy on using ChatGPT or Claude and rapid, quick cut and paste person, then you pretty much can do the same thing. So you can cut and paste summary and description, have your own nice prompt, and then convert the requirements and cut and paste them back. But it's waste of time and not, I would say, the reasonable spend of human work time. Rather than like configuring them in a, let's say, planned way and coherent unified use for the whole team members or even the whole company if you use these global settings. But point being that, first of all, you are in control of your prompts and functionalities. You provide them in a similar way as the same power, same let's say feature set to all users. So it's like even like a democratic approach. And then yeah, the ease of use. I claim that clicking a single button is way easier than cut and pasting back and forward and forgetting something in the process. So those are the points, and not even going into the I think in future this will be even more, that when the AI Act and the similar principles are taking more focus, then these apps are already providing the capability that you know what prompts are used for requirement and whatever Jira content analysis, rewriting, and you can control that. You can kind of even control it in the level that only certified or nominated admins, project admins and system admins are the ones who can modify the prompts. So there is control, there is transparency, and there is ease of use. That's the 3 key points of our apps. All right. This is pretty much all the things I had in mind. I still check the chat if there's any more questions. No, it's still free from questions, but you can always reach us. You can find us on internet, of course, regtech.io, and here we have our app listings, Atlassian applications, and contact details, or you can reach out via Atlassian Marketplace. There is also links for contacting us. So, and Yeah, of course. Go and have a spin with the apps. So go to Marketplace, install the app, and try it in real life. They are actually configured so that you can get them into use without Requirements Copilot, even without any configuration. It runs with free key and it has preset prompts. Xray and Zephyr requires this Xray key to put in place. Actually, you can generate test cases and see what it does without it, but you can't store them in Xray or Zephyr without it. Thanks, and follow us and ask for demo if you want.